Hi guys, my name is Sari and welcome to my YouTube videos. Today I'm going to tell you about my newest hat design that I have published both on Ravelry and on Love Knitting, and it's called More Honey. The original pattern that this pattern is based on is called Honey, and it's one of the first ones that I have ever published. I self-published it on Ravelry maybe 4 years ago, in May 2014, I think. And it's still one of my favorite hat patterns, one of my favorite patterns that I have designed myself. And I thought that it needed a bit of an update. There were some issues about it that kind of bugged me when I released it, but at that time I didn't know how to fix them. And now, years later, my skills in both with knitting and with designing and writing patterns have improved. So now I finally thought it's a good time for me to fix the issues that annoyed me. Unfortunately, I don't have the original hat anymore, so I can't show it to you here, but you can find photos of it online on Ravelry, for example. It was a yellow and knitted in Trox cotton merino, but it didn't really fit my head, so I think I gave it away to a friend or something like that. And now I will show you the new versions of the hat. The first new example of the hat I knitted was in black, and I used leftover yarn from my kirigami sweater. It's this one I'm wearing right now. It's knitted in Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, and the colorway is called Porter. It's this nice, a bit faded black, so not like totally intense black, but like they describe it as faded black jeans, and I think that's a very nice way to say how the colorway looks like. The stitch definition with Brooklyn Tweed Arbor is really nice, and as you can see, all this detailing on the yoke shows very nicely, even though it's knitted in black. Usually the black knits are really hard to photograph, for example, and all the details get lost. So I used the leftover yarn for a hat, and this is the first version of the updated More Honey pattern. The charted pattern of the hat is pretty much the same as for the original honey hat. The changes I have made are for the brim and also for the length of the hat. And the original honey hat didn't have a pom-pom, but I thought this hat needed one. So I will show you another sample I have knitted. It's knitted also in Brooklyn Tweed, but this colorway is called Degas, and this is a watchman cap version of the same pattern. But the only difference is that it's a bit shorter, both the main body of the hat as with the brim compared to this one. This is much longer, as you can see. So this is most like the original hat. It had a short ribbing and then just the main body of the hat. And I wanted to create this version as well as a nod for the original pattern. But as myself, I'm a fan of folded brims and a double thickness here around the ears. This version has a really long ribbing that can be folded double, and it's nice on your ears when it's windy and cold, as it often is here in Finland during winter. This is the long version of the hat. And the second sample, this one, is a beanie version, which is a bit shorter than this long version. And it doesn't have a pom-pom yet, but I still have some yarn left and I'm debating with myself whether to add one. At the moment I'm probably leaning towards adding a pom-pom. This also has the same double brim that I really like. This is knitted in Zeelana Performarimo DK, and the color is called Kiwi Crush. I got this yarn 2 years ago from my parents when they visited New Zealand. They brought it to me as a souvenir, and until now I didn't quite know what to use it for. It's really special to me, but I think it's really nice for this hat. Also, I like how this yarn is a bit more furry or fuzzy compared to Brooklyn Tweed Arbor, and the texture is a bit different. I'm not sure if you can see it on this video. For the updated pattern, I also wanted to add one more size, so I added a bigger size to fit men, and this is for my husband. He got to choose the yarn and the color. So this is also in Brooklyn Tweed Arbor. The colorway is called Sashiko, and he has also the beanie version with folded brim. I haven't asked him if he wants a pom-pom. I would like to make one because I'm a fan of pom-poms, but I'm not quite sure if he wants one as well. Also, my husband is, I'm not sure if you can say it, but I call it knitting illiterate. He can't read knitted patterns in that sense that he often wears the hats I have knitted for him wrong way out, which really annoys me, but he keeps telling me that my knitting is so neat that both sides look good. So for now I have left this yarn from the cast on edge unwoven. I'm waiting for him to come home so I can measure it, and then I'm going to weave it through the hat so that the brim holds in place, and also he will see which way to wear it. The pom-pom would help with that also, but that's not the reason why I want to add it. That's just a bonus, I think. So here are 4 samples of the same hat in 4 different colors and also 4 different lengths. I have added to the new More Honey pattern. Compared to the old pattern, the old honey pattern had just one size that was supposed to fit everybody. But this pattern has 3 sizes for women and 3 sizes for men. We are mostly playing with the length of the brim and length of the hat. So we have this watch cup version, which is short body with short brim. Then we have the beanie version, which is short body with longer brim, and then a long version like this black one with long body and the long brim. So you can choose which one you want. And all of these are knitted in DK weight yarn. So it's a really nice and quick project for yourself, or maybe as a present for somebody you care about. On this video I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that you will need when you are knitting your own hat. First showing you a trick about cast on and how to make sure you don't twist the cast on edge. And then I will show you how I knit cables without the cable needle. And lastly, I will quickly show you a little trick about magic loop, so you don't need to change to double pointed needles at the end of the hat, and so you can make your own More Honey hat. So here we go. Okay, so I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that I have used for this hat, and the yarn I'm using is Brooklyn Tweed Arbor,
and this is the shade called Sashiko, which is a really nice deep blue, a bit grayish blue. And this is the one my husband chose for his hat. It is very soft and springy, and the yarn is really nice and smooth. This has very nice stitch definition, as you can already see from the skein. The first thing I'm going to show you is how I make sure I have enough yarn for the long tail cast on, and I won't run out of yarn in the midst of casting on. So the first thing I do is just leave a little bit of a tail and then wrap this working yarn around the needle 10 times. So 4, 6, 8, that's 10. This is going to be the equivalent of 10 stitches that have been cast on. So I will keep my thumbs in place and remove the needle. And then measure as many times as I need. So if it's 50 stitches I need to cast on, then it's 5 times 10, so 5 times, but now it's 140, so 14 times. This is 3, then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13 and 14. So this is where I will start casting on. The second thing, to make the cast on edge neat, I will not make a slip knot as they usually say that you have to make for casting on, but I just put this yarn around the needle, make a loop, and then start casting on. So here we go. I will show you in a bit. Here. So there is no knot here, and this way when you join in the round it will look much neater. There won't be that a little annoying step that you usually have with the slip knot. I can show you when I join in the round. So here I have my 140 stitches ready and cast it on, and now I'm ready to join in a round. Usually at this point in the directions you can see a note saying make sure you don't twist the ring of stitches, and what that means is that the cast on edge might roll around itself, and then when you join it in a round it won't come out as straight, but it will be looped around itself. So how we make sure that there are no twists, just with your thumbs and fingers go through the whole ring and see that all these legs of the stitches are facing the same way. And here you can see that it is starting to twist, so I will just gently twist it around and make sure everything is now facing inwards. I don't usually use store-bought stitch markers, but I make these little yarn loops with a slip knot with waste yarn and use them because I think they are softer on my fingers and easier to work with. And then I'm ready to join in a round. So the first stitch is a purl one, and then I'm going to knit 2 and purl through as per the instructions. The first round of this ribbing might be a bit tricky. You really have to make sure you are looking at the pattern closely, as it's not, as you can see, it's not a regular 2x2 or 1x1 ribbing, but combination of the two. And I wanted to do it this way because I wanted the ribbing to flow nicely into the pattern later on. As you can see here how it changes from the ribbing. And also I really like how this makes the ribbing look. It has this denser and then these wider ribbing sections, and I think it looks really nice and unique. The original honey hat had just one by one knit pearl ribbing, but this is something I made for the more honey hat. I'm now at the end of the first ribbing round, and this is a good place to once more check that you haven't twisted the ring of stitches. So just go around the stitches. It doesn't matter if they tend together a bit like this, but just pull them apart and see that they are all facing the same way. If it would happen that you here notice that you have twisted it, then just go under the yarn which way you have twisted it and untwist it, because there's only this one thread at the moment keeping it together, so it doesn't matter if you twist it a bit, but later on as you have more and more layers, the twist will be more visible, so the alternative is just to rib back. And I'm going to continue with this ribbing until I have the desired length, and this is going to have the doubled folded brim, so until I have 15 centimeters of ribbing. It goes quite fast, don't worry, it might sound a lot, but it's a fast with these needles and yarn. Also, the ribbing becomes more intuitive after a few rounds, so you don't have to worry so much about looking at the chart or the written instructions. You can start seeing what is the next stitch